Hey up lads and lasses, Damphyre here, back again with some more Infinite Lagrange. Today, jumping into Stingray, as I mentioned on yesterday's video, because it was just set up like that a little bit. So you got the best ship in the game first, well, the best fighter in the game first. Now you got the one of the better bombers for certain, and it is it's a bit of an odd one. This, it used to do a lot more damage than it currently does, but it is one of the best screening ships in the game, and that's mostly due to the fact that it can just get quite a lot of evasion, and just like it's just pretty good at it. It's got, you know, evasion on its thrusters again. Most aircraft do have that, but then it's got this strategy here where you see triggers camouflage, increase evasion by 90%, increases hit rate by 30% every 90 seconds for 30 seconds, which is actually obviously quite powerful, you know. And even on its armor system here, we have this nice little thing which reduces the effect of lock-on efficiency of anti-aircraft weapons, has on you by 20%. This is actually stacked against their multiplicatives, so if they've been stacking lock-on efficiency and now you're just dropping that by 20%, it's actually quite nasty. So yeah, it does put this in a position where against anti-ship fire from wing to SARS and the likes of that, it's pretty decent. You can also, you know, negate intercept a little bit with this thing. So overall, just a generally good in-slot bomber. Decent amount of damage, great evasion. So it allows it to, you know, tank for Vetus Bs a little bit, tank for itself, tank for Mistrals. Just really good in general. So to start things off, I like to just pump up that factor of it, and I like to go into its propulsion system, picking up this evasion straight off the bat. It's only got 3 slots there. The other 2 are target selection times, and the other one's flight reciprocal. We'll come back and pick these up a little bit later on. Going into its armor system after that, picking up the lock-on efficiency. This will stop it being targeted quite as early. It takes them longer to target, basically, which means it normally gets onto target without being hit by the time that their lock-on happens, and it allows you to get, you know, some early damage out, which is actually really quite nice. It also, you know, stops things being attacking it quite so early, and then straight into its strategy on its main weapon system. Just gives you, you know, that even more evasion. The hit rate bonus is just a nice bonus on this. Just, you know, to say the least. But the evasion buff being, you know, increased evasion by 90%, plus you got your other evasion and you've got the lock-on efficiency, it makes this a very, very difficult target to really take down particularly quickly. You'll notice even things like Vetus Bs tend to drop faster than your Stingrays will. But again, the battles are normally very, very quick and over within the first couple of minutes. This will allow you to, you know, maybe stick these around a little bit longer, get a little bit extra damage output out of them, tank a little bit for other aircraft and fleet. So I do recommend running these in a situation where you are running as a tank. So after your stealth attacks, I like to actually come back. Now, I don't normally do this with aircraft, and this is mostly due to the fact that the HP buffs are quite minimal here, because of the fact that they are, you know, low HP ships in the first place. But I do like to come back into the armor system after picking up the strategy and picking up either double ship HP, and then probably picking up the energy resistances. You have 4 slots to play with, so you can go the lock-on and then 3 of the ship HPs, but I like picking up the energy resistances because things like Mistral do energy damage, so giving them a little bit extra tank against the likes of Mistrals, which are, you know, the bane of most aircraft, is just quite a nice little bonus there that it can get. Negating 10% of their damage is pretty decent. They don't have much damage, so it isn't too bad at all. Going back into the airborne system again after that, and this is where you go into your damage, picking up double hit rate, double cooldown, and now you get a nice little choice. You can either go into its crit damage, or you can go double damage for your, is that like 6 of your slots, of your 7 slots. And then I always pick up the intercept here, reduce the chance of your weapons being intercepted, and that's because wing to SARS, and every other, you know, light cones having massive intercept on them Having this actually is really powerful now when you start seeing meta fleets popping up with light cone and the like, because their intercept can just negate damage pretty effectively from things like Stingrays. So it's almost a requirement now, in my opinion. So your end build generally looks like stealth attacks first, hit rate, double cooldown, that's 4 of your 7 slots. Either double damage to go up to 6, or you go one of the crit damages and the wellhead modification, and then the ammo stealth processing is always your last on your 7th slot. There is an option here for siege damage. I don't recommend running this for siege. There are just better options out there. Ships themselves can be better at it. Bullfrog is better at it. Vetus Bees are better at it. Although, again, I wouldn't recommend Vetus Bees for siege damage either. So, yeah. It's just a pretty good ship. Oh, yeah. And the command system is pretty much the same as before. Ignore target reset. You don't want this generally attacking small capital ships. You want it attacking the main super capitals, cruisers and upwards, big damage dealing potentials. You can use it if you start seeing a lot of swarm appear, especially Frigg Destroyer Swarm. This will actually help sort of mitigate damage coming out in hybrid fleet, because a lot of hybrid fleets damage comes from the like of destroyers and frigates. And then Swarm, a lot of that damage outside of the aircraft are again coming from Frigate Destroyer. But I still like to keep these onto large targets. And that's mostly because of the attack against target systems is propulsion primary. Which means if you knock out their props, when they get blown up, they generally get properly blown up, and that's going to cost your enemy a lot more than it would if they managed to evade and get away, and they just sat there, have to repair their carrier, the battle cruiser, whatever it was. If you knock the props out, they have to rebuild it. It's a very costly endeavor, even late game, when you've got maxed out miners out of everyone and advanced mining platforms. If you're doing your job properly, hitting their eco consistently and constantly to stop them being able to procure resources for rebuilding fleets, and then you drop this thing in, which is knocking out props to kill off ships completely, so they are having to fully rebuild them. Yeah, it's going to win you the game in the long run, so highly recommend it. Ignoring the command system here, so it's cheap to rebuild destroyers and frigates. Let them do their work. Let them take out the props on carriers and battle cruisers, and let them seriously damage your enemy's potential. And yeah, that is the Stingray in the nutshell. The command system then should always be the increased maintenance efficiency of the system by 5%. It just allows it to repair the system a little bit quicker if it gets knocked out. Not that it matters too much on this thing, because it generally doesn't get hit too often. These are usually the last things alive and the first things in fights. I forgot the prop system. Always go double target selection here, is my opinion. There is a chance of going reciprocal because of its outbound flight is actually quite long, 8 seconds, so you can actually reduce that quite nicely with reciprocal. But I like going double target selection. It gets it out a little bit faster and into the enemy's face a little bit faster, and then it gets prioritized by Mistrals or whatever else is out there. And yeah, having the target selection time then just gets it out in front, tanking and screening for your other aircraft, allowing it to, take the damage where you want it to be. You want it to be on these things. They take a lot of damage, they mitigate a lot of damage, and it allows your other fighters and stuff to stay alive and do their job a little bit more efficiently without too much harassment. Obviously, like I said, battles tend to be over within the first minute or two, and generally that is all it's written. If you have Stingrays, you can extend the lifetime of your other aircraft a little bit longer, and that could mean the difference between you losing or winning the air fight in the long run. So, the Stingray, pretty good ship. Carrier-wise, it goes on anything with large slots, really. I run these on solar whales, personally. It generally doesn't matter, but I would recommend anything that has increased cooldowns and stuff like that on it. It does help it quite a bit, gets a little bit more damage output, gets them out a little bit quicker. So Solar Whale is my go-to here. And obviously, if you don't have one of the main actual proper carriers with large slots, just run it on something like KCCPV. Would I run these on KCPV? If you've got no other option and you're filling up your 400 CP worth of fleet, and you've got KCCP as an option and stuff like that, and you don't have anything else to place, yeah, I think it might be worth running KCCP with these on it in that instance. Generally speaking, though, if you are going to run KCCP, if you've got Vita Speeds, run something like that on it instead. As for proper carriers, absolutely run these on them. Solar Whales, Marshall Crooks, anything you can get large slots on, stick this on, and away you go. It's going to do pretty well for you, hopefully. So, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.